there something that you want, my man? Huh? What's happening here? What's happening? Are you two snuggling together? Oh, so sleepyhead. Is your big brother Shay keeping you warm? Oh, Shay, you love those guys? Are you gonna miss them more than me? Hello everyone! We have a very exciting day planned. Shay is so excited. So, we're on the other side of that because it seemed like one complication after another. So I have listed in the GoFundMe page of the date of all of his vet appointments, what he received during that date, and how much the costs. Push this one down as much as possible. He's straining his spine, so it's not if he starts to develop some serious problems, it's when. So yes,